Can you hear me okay, Rachel?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, we'll get started and we'll see what happens. Go from there. So sorry, everybody, kind of a crazy, crazy thing we weren't expecting. Um, Olivia, I just want to make sure that it's recording, and then we'll get going. I think it is. I see it's recording up at the top, but just wanted to make sure you see that on your end. But welcome everybody to the Canva training, presented by Olivia DeBoer. She is our digital navigator and program director at Grow, South Dakota. Just a couple reminders as we are recording. And then all the participants will be muted during the call, just so for the best sound quality. If you have questions during the presentation, if you just want to throw them in the chat, that chat at the bottom, you can put your questions in there and then we'll answer questions as time allows. This training is hosted by Grow South Dakota and First Financial Bank USA. Again, Olivia is our trainer, and I'll kind of hand it off to her now, and we'll get started.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I am going to share my screen here. All right. So getting started here this morning, we are going to be focusing on some intermediate skills when it comes to Canva, mostly on curating a professional looking ad. We've have had in the past a very basic Canva class and a more advanced Canva class that focuses on how to upload a brand kit, making a QR code, and some other features. Be sure to check them out on YouTube to get more clarification on some of those features. Um, right now, I'm showing you the Canva paid version. Now, Grow South Dakota is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, so full disclosure, we get this free of charge. If your job or entity is a nonprofit, definitely look into that. The paid version does have much more features than the non-paid version. Although you can do some of the same things, right? I looked it up right before I popped on here. The paid version costs $15 per month, or $120 per year. That is for one user. So if you need multiple users, it may cost more. All right, getting started here. I created this very, awful looking ad, right? It's really cluttered. It's really too many elements competing for attention. There's no clear focal point, and it feels really busy or overwhelming. One In a polished version of this ad, one main message would stand out immediately, and it would have supporting elements secondarily. There would be plenty of breathing room, white space. So something I want you guys to do here is put into the chat, where does your eye go first? Does it go to the skates? Does it go to the bow? Does it go to the really blurry heart there? Just something that looks, slightly off, maybe. Another thing I want to point out here is that it has kind of poor alignment, right? There's nothing really um, in one place. So there's nothing on this just to the side here or anything that really sticks out as what the ad is about. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to click on some of these graphics and kind of pull them away so I can see better what we're working with. So to click on a graphic, you're going to hover over the graphic. And you're going to see here that the graphic creates a box around it. So to click on the graphic and pull it over, I'm just going to set it over to the side here, just to kind of get a blank space. Now I'm going to kind of start to align some of these words, right? So I'm going to take all of these graphics. I still might use them, but I definitely just want them out of my way. Then I'm going to click on the retro, and I'm going to come up here to the top and click on alignment. You can see that's a middle alignment, but I think I want it more to the right there. So I'm going to click all the way to the right, and you can see how it is aligned. I'm coming down here to the rollers, and I'm going to do the same. And same with the skates. I'm going to click and make it a right alignment. Now I'm going to drag all of these to kind of make them so they line up. When you're dragging it, you can see it creates a line when it is aligned with the retro, right? So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to pull the roller, and I'm pulling it there to see match the line. And then I'm coming up to the retro, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull it, match the line. I'm just going to pull this over here, make it a little bit different. Now at the bottom, I'm going to pull these and kind of leave them right there. And maybe the 6512 as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. It's kind of, unique in the fact that it is not perpendicular. It is, up and down instead. So I'm going to take this, and where it's kind of like some arrows, I'm going to pull this, and I'm going to pull it to be a 0. You can, maybe you want to align it so it's, a little off. But personally, I kind of like to keep it straight there. And I'm going to pull that over here under the skates and everything. Now, if I wanted to make this bigger, I could do multiple things, right? I could pull this arrow and make it bigger or smaller. And I'm just clicking and dragging. Or I can go up here to the font size and just click on font size. I'm going to pull that back down just to keep it a little bit more in line with the graphic. This looks better already, right? You can tell what we're advertising. We can tell exactly how much they cost, where to go to get them, different things like that. I'm going to pull this here too, and kind of align it again. All right. The next thing I want you to think of is just having consistent spacing between the elements as well. There's an invisible structure holding it together, right? You don't want this to be way down here. You want it to be kind of aligning with the different fonts. Another thing to think of when you are creating a Canva ad is to use about 1 to 2 fonts maximum. You want a clear hierarchy, right? You want a headline, a subhead, and a body. And you want them to match the mood of the design. So we kind of got a retro theme here. So I'm going to maybe take this, click on the text, and put on the font. And I'm going to type in here retro. It's suggesting the Art Deco. I can definitely click on that and see if I like any of these. I usually click through a few before I choose the one that I want. So I really like that Gandice, whatever it says there. So I'm going to pick that one. Now I'm going to go through and make all of my fonts for my header the same. I'm going to click the Gandice. I'm going to click down, select the font, and push that. Now, something you might see here is that this is all capitalized, and that kind of looks funky to me. So I'm going to come up to the top and click on this. It says uppercase. So it's going to put it down to lowercase. I think that looks a lot better personally. So I'm going to change them all to lowercase. The other thing I'm not really liking here is that these are totally different lines. So I'm going to click onto the retro, hit enter, and I'm going to type in roller and skates. That is going to keep it consistent, right? It's all solidly one um, text. So if you make it bigger, smaller, that'll all stay the same. Now, this is a neat trick. If you click here and pull up, it'll select both of these, right? And then if you hit backspace, gone. That's something I like to do when I want to keep it formatted, but I maybe want to change the location of the um, text or graphic. Something else I want to change here is the spacing in between the retro roller skates. Oops, let me change that, spelled that wrong. I'm going to select the retro roller skates again, come up to the T, which is advanced settings, and I'm going to put down the line spacing a little bit here, where you can see it's kind of pulling it more together. Now, something to avoid is you would want to make sure that the letters aren't touching each other, making it hard to read. I already like that more, so I'm gonna just click on here to exit out of that. Now we want to focus on, making this all more aligned as well. This would be your font for readability, right? So you want to select a font that is maybe more basic. A good one is, Times New Roman or Arial, something like that for more readability. I'm just going to pick Times because I know I like that. So I'm going to choose all of those and put all of this information on how much it costs, where to go into Times New Roman. Another thing you can do is you can pull this to make the line bigger. If you select here, you see that the arrow is back and forth. You can pull it and make it more aligned. All right, now that I have everything kind of aligned the way I want it to be, I'm going to focus on some more of the design. I'm just going to pull this bigger. I think I want this in the corner where we're working with everything. And maybe I want something like this more in the background. Now you can make your graphics bigger or smaller by dragging the same way we drag the other pieces of the ad. Mostly, looking at the lettering. So coming up here, I kind of want this to blend a little bit more into the background. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to select my color and choose a color that's maybe a little bit more muted. These are the colors you can see here that are on the photo. I have our brand kit for Girls South Dakota on there. And then you can also see the photo colors as well. I kind of like to stick to one of those three, just to make it so it's not so, um, you know, different across the whole page. I clicked on the same color as the background. We're going to leave it like that for now, just so we can see some different things. Now I'm going to kind of bring this more up here. I'm going to pull this up, make that a little bit more of a focal point, right? You can see now that this is kind of hard to read, the really great site. So you'd want to probably change that text color to something more that stands out. Maybe, the yellow that we used before or the pink, something that matches the theme of the rest of the photo. And then I'm going to put this one as a different color because I really want people to know it's 6512. What a great deal. Oops. Okay, something else here is you want to think of is maybe making the background a dark color. A lot of times we see the white on the background where, it might not stand out as much as a virtual ad. So I'm going to come up here and click on the background. If you didn't see how I did that, I just went and highlighted the whole lot of the photograph. Then I clicked on here and I'm going to actually make the background black, I think. Now you can see that really is eye-catching. It really pops out. You can see that there's lots of, it looks really retro, right? Different things like that. Another thing to look at here is now you can tell this side of the design feels really crammed, right? There's two different styles of skates. There's this, you know, green heart, and then there's some overlapping designs too. So something I've talked about a little bit, you want your spacing to feel consistent. Um, uh, Otherwise, it will feel accidental, right? So you want to pull these, maybe you want to go with the real picture of the skates that you're advertising. And then maybe we want to take away this not real skate, right? So I'm going to exit out of there. Can somebody tell me in the chat if there's anything else that feels like it maybe doesn't fit with this design, whether it be maybe the bow or the heart or maybe this little squiggly thing, the green heart, the bow, the heart and the squiggly, the heart, all three. Remove the heart. Yeah. So I want to show you something before I remove the heart. You know, maybe the heart just doesn't look good because it's a little, I don't know, pixelated. It looks kind of off, right? So I'm going to select the heart. I'm going to go up here to edit. And I'm going to take the edit and I'm going to come down here to adjust. So maybe I want to adjust the tint or the temperature. Maybe I want to pull this so it's a little bit brighter or more muted. The contrast, the highlights, the shadow, anything like that could help a little bit with the heart. I'm going to pull here the vibrant, pull it up there and kind of see if that helps at all. And then the saturation too. Another thing that could help a lot with this heart and being kind of, not the most clear is the sharpness. So I'm going to pull up the heart and the sharpness there. And then I'm going to really pull up the clarity. And now you can see if I pull the heart and make it a little bit smaller, it looks more, normal, more clear, anything like that. You can also, if you have done this to a real photo, you can reset the adjustments too. That way you can see if it's, going to work for you. I also really like the auto adjust for the heart. You can see it changed a bunch of these settings automatically, what it thought. And you can see that it really made the heart clear and easy to view there. Although I don't think it matches, so we're going to go ahead and delete this anyways. I also think the bow is kind of not our theme, right? It's not really retro. It's not really fitting what we are going for here. And then I'm maybe going to pull this little graphic and pull it out of there. Maybe pull this squiggly line down. I think it's kind of a funky color. So maybe I'm going to go up here to the top and make it the same color as our other background piece there. So everything feels a little bit more put together now, right? Everything looks a little bit more consistent. There's not as many, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting a retro roller skate here for 6512. You can go to the address listed below, or you can go to the website listed below. Is there anything else you can think of that we would maybe want to add to this? Maybe make the picture a little bigger. Maybe we just use this generic picture and we actually want to use a picture that we took of the roller skate. And I just happen to have one uploaded here. I uploaded this before. If you're wondering on how to upload photos, we do have a video tutorial of that as well in the more basic Canva class. So I'm going to select this here, and you can see it brought up my photo. I'm going to go ahead and delete the old photo of the crusty, dusty shoes there. And we're going to have our new photo that our photographer took of these really cute retro boots or skates, I should say. And then I'm going to kind of align it there with how I want it to look, right? But something feels a little off to me. Maybe it's the fact that the background doesn't really match. Maybe there's too much in there. I'm going to come up here to the background remover, the BG remover, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now we're talking, right? You can really see the skates. I'm going to pull it up here so it looks like they're coming out of the sky. And they really kind of pop against that yellow color there. But now I think I want to maybe change the pink. There's not as much pink, in there. So I'm going to come over here and kind of change it to match now with the photo colors. Another way you can do that is if you want something to match exactly to the photos, you can click on add a new color and then come down here to this dropper, right? And you're going to click on the dropper. Now you're going to see it's going to hover over any of those colors that you want. I like to do this in photos when there's like a unique color, kind of like this orangey red that's right here. So maybe I want to click on that and pull in that color to the design. Now that looks cool. I'm going to go up here and, or down here and change this color as well to that orange. Really cool. I don't know if you can see this super well, but in the photo, there is a chain, right? So if you click on the photo again, go to background remover again, and then you can click on erase, you will see it gives you kind of a small eraser there. I'm going to go ahead and take that eraser and remove the chain, just because it kind of clashes with my photo, right? Wasn't necessarily something we needed in there. And then I'm going to click on done. So you can now see that the chain is removed. Something that you want to avoid too is, using too many shadows or outlines or gradients. It often comes off as like trying too hard, not looking intentional. There's a time and a place for that, right? You want to kind of go by the rule of just because Canva has it doesn't mean you should use it. Um, you want everything to look equally important too, right? You want to see that there's roller skates, retro, and everything like that. Something else I like to do is kind of pull in what I'm not using. You could see that this was really wide. I kind of pull it in so I can, easily adjust different things behind there. Maybe I want to pull that out or something like that. Now I want you to do a test. When you blur your eyes, can you still read the the writing that is on the ad? That's something that I like to do to see. Can you see the retro roller skate? can you see the 6512? Not necessarily you need to see the little tiny writing of where to go. Most of the time you will want to put that in your actual post description anyways. That's something that we want to, make sure is good. Um, Another thing to avoid is when you have, blurry photos, stretched photos, always take from the side and pull. You don't necessarily want to do it this way. You see here at the bottom how the wheel got cut off. That's something you would maybe want to avoid. Or something like this, just making sure that everything in the photo is on there. You also want to make sure you are uploading high resolution images. You don't want that blurry heart on the ad, just because that's what you had available. Canva has lots of different elements available. If you type in here retro, once you click on elements, they're going to give you a bunch of different graphics that match the style you're going for. And they have a really cool, AI features too that can kind of match exactly what you have going on already. I'm not going to add anything, but if you were going to, you just click on this. You can see it came up there. You could go ahead and edit the colors to match your ad. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know that was kind of fast. I apologize. It threw me off that we had to move venues. If you weren't here when we first started, we are experiencing some um, blackouts. It still looks too cluttered to me. Yeah, and it kind of does to me too. We could go ahead and take out some of that. Maybe you want to take out this background too, or move this. I'm just looking through some of these. When you have an image behind a larger box, is there an easy way to access the image without moving the box to the top? So you mean like this, how this graphic is below the this picture? So you could maybe move that box and make it smaller, move the image out of the way, and then make the box back to as big as you need it. Or you could click on this image and then you could go and come down here to the more and then layer, and then you could send it to the back or bring it forward. Did that did that answer your question? I changed the pink star to coordinate with the color of the skates. Yeah, definitely. I was just if you wanted to do that, you could go in here again, and click on the pink, click on the add a new color and the dropper, and maybe you want to pick that blue color. And then maybe you want to make this that blue color too to have it all align even better.
Olivia, there was a question about a rule of thumb is for how many different fonts you could have on um a graphic. So is there a rule of thumb of how many to use, or do you
Yeah,
go with your gut?
nope. The rule of thumb is generally to use 1 to 2 fonts, one to catch your eye and one for readability. So, if you're going like with the retro theme like we have, you might want to do a retro font and then a more readable font. Something else that you may want to do here is upload and add your um, excuse me, your logo. So you can either go into your uploads. I always keep Grow South Dakota's logo in our uploads so it can easily access that. So then maybe I'd want to add Grow South Dakota selling retro roller skates. And then I kind of move it around to see where I want it. Or if you don't want to keep it in your uploads all the time, you can add that into your brand kit as well. And you can see here, I have it uploaded, and then there's all of our logos that have been approved. Another interesting feature with the brand kit is that you can go to colors, and then when you click on the color palette, it's going to change all of these to match the colors of Grow South Dakota's logo, or excuse me, Grow South Dakota's approved colors. If I don't like that, I can shuffle it again and until I find a combination that I really like. I do that sometimes just to mix up ads so we're not seeing and putting out the same things over and over again.
We do have a few questions too on where we can find, I don't know, maybe we do that at the end, but where we can find the past recordings. So I did put that in the chat for anybody who is looking for any past recordings. If you click on the link or go to the Grow South Dakota webpage, you can click on the news and events. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, it has all of our past events. So it will have the other Canva classes that we've done as well. Sorry, go ahead, Olivia.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, and we can also send, when we send the recording of this event, we can also send you the past two Canva classes that we have done. And then I have another question. Is there an AI tool for Canva? So if you go back to home here and you go into templates, you can click on pretty much any template that you would like to make. Um, I generally type in what I'm looking for, if I'm looking for a Mother's Day post, then it'll give me some ideas here. So not necessarily something that does AI to create the whole post, but you could maybe, I have not explored the Canva AI either, so you could definitely do that today or on your own time as well. I wouldn't maybe suggest using that just to make your designs either. AI is only as smart as you make it, So even if you type like an email with AI or something like that, you generally want to look over the email, right? So you don't have some words that you don't need in there, or maybe it's spaced differently than you would naturally do that, or different things like that. Well, if there are no further questions, we can definitely stop there. I do apologize again for the little bit of technical difficulties we were having getting into Canva today. Rachel, do you have some more you'd like to share?
I would definitely suggest just going and watching some of those beginner classes as well. Sometimes it's nice to be able to pause them and kind of work, watch a little section and then work in Canva and then go back and you can pause and go back and forth. And with Olivia's recording today too, sometimes it's nice to be able to play around with things on your own a little. Um, but I did put, like I mentioned in the chat, where you can find those. If you go to Grow South Dakota, go to news and events, and then scroll down to the bottom. Actually, I can just share my screen because we're going to wrap up anyway. So I will share my screen before I do this. Um, Go back to just Grow first. So when you first go to, like if you do a Google search for Grow South Dakota, this is what'll come up if you come over to news and events here on the side and go to agency events and trainings. Click here. We can scroll down and you can see what we have coming up as well. So that's kind of a cool thing. Um, I'm going to scroll, not to make you dizzy, but get to the bottom here. And here is the recordings of the past events. So we do have the basics of Canva. And then we also have the exploring AI in marketing. That could be a good one also. If you're kind of looking into getting into AI, I know there was a question on that. Um, it's got some really great information. Dr. Hannah Walters did that training, and then the advanced Canva class here too. So there's some great ones, and Olivia did a great job today too, going over some of that, going over the Canva stuff and the images. So. Um, Here, if you wanted to click the QR code, it will take you to exactly where I just took you. So it's another option to get to where we just were. If you have any other ideas for future trainings, we're always all ears for that. And then be on the lookout for the follow-up email. It will include, I can do links too to those Canva classes, just as Olivia mentioned. That was a great idea, Olivia. Um, and then it'll also have the recording for today's class as well, and then a survey. Um, and then we just want to say thank you, and thank you especially too to First Financial Bank for the co-sponsor there. If you have any questions at all, Olivia's information is listed here, and mine is as well. But thank you all for attending. Appreciate you being here, and um, great to see you.
Thank you so much.